Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Please take your seats and we'll start today. We are in Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph in Maseches Bava Metzia. Bava Metzia. Echziro bocho. Two lines, in the middle lines, not the narrowest and not the widest. The middle of the road lines. Echziro bocho. We quote the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that if somebody brought back an animal, could be a cow, could be a dog, could be a cat, could be a whatever, and the animal is repeating escaper. It's how do you call it? It's keeps escaping all the time. Okay, so is the runaway, is a constant runaway. Why would the animal run away? Dysfunctional family over there. So then, what do? Even if you found it 4 or 5 times, you still have to give it back again and again and again. The shiur always sort of restarts whenever you see, oh, it's that dog again. You have to give him back to the owner, or a cow, or whatever. One of the rabbis, one of the rabbonon, told Rove, Ema, we said in the Mishnah that the source for that is what? Hashev teshivim, twice. Hashev teshivim, you should return and you should return. So the Mishnah sounded if it's saying you have to return it again and again up until 100, even more. Oh, Frag the Gemara, one of the Talmidim asked Rove, Ema, let us learn the pasuk differently. Hashev chadazimna. The first time the Torah says Hashev means one time, Teshivim treizimni. Maybe the second word Teshivim doesn't mean end, to no end, only second time. In other words, let me explain to you. When the Torah says Hashev one time, I could understand that. Actually, the Gemara is going to say that. I'm not going to say it myself because the Gemara is going to explain it. If the Talmud asks the question, Hashev means once, Teshivim twice. On the contrary, maybe the Torah limits the amount of times to twice only. Once it ran away twice, that's it. It's their Baalim's responsibility. Why should it give it back? Lamaisa, the animal will probably run away again. So it's a lost case. Excuse the pun. Says Rova to the Talmud, Omer lei, no, you misunderstand it. Hashev, the word Hashev alone, had the Torah said return only once, afilu mea pe'omim b'mashma. In other words, if the Torah says return, why should there be a limit? Did you put on tefillin this morning? Yes, did you? Yeah, you did. But you put on yesterday and the day before. So what? Every day there's a new chiyuv. In other words, the chiyuv is not a one-time thing, it's a constant chiyuv. Not exactly like Aveda, but there is a similarity that every time the Aveda gets lost, then you recharge the chiyuv of Hashavas Aveda. So if the Torah told me Hashav once, why should there be a limit? Teshivim. And Enochinami, I don't need the Shev Teshivim to talk about the numbers of time. Hashem alone tells me that there's no end to how many times it can repeat the Hashava. You know what it says Teshivim the second time? Ainly to tell me a whole different thing. First wide line. Ainly alala beisoy. One would say like this. If I return it to the owner, how do I have to return it? In other words, where do I have to return it to? Do I have to return it to him, knock on the door, and tell him with a nice smile or sour face, and tell him, this is your dog that ran away, or this is your car that ran away, and you have to be aware of it and look after it and make sure it doesn't happen again, and here it is and look after it. Or maybe I can put it in his backyard while he's having coffee and learning Parshas Shavua. Maybe Enochinami, I could give it back to him, not to his own hands, to his domain, to his possession. Let's see it inside. If it only says to return, one would say you have to return it properly to his very own hands, mamish in front of his eyes, and give him a good warning. How do you know that if I give it back and I placed it back in his garden or in his chuba, he has some kind of shack, some kind of a chirbe, a ruined house. In other words, he has a place that is his place, and I can put the cow there and go home. I don't have time to start going to his house, which is 5 streets away. I'll just put it in his gina, in his garden, and that would be enough. How do you know that it is enough? It is enough to place it in another place that belongs to the owner, although I'm not giving it to mamish his own hands with his own awareness. How do you know that it is good? A lower standard hashava is good enough. When the Torah repeats the word teshivim, mikol mokom, it comes to tell me that the hashava can be done in more than one way. Get it? The ribui means you should return and also return it in a lower class, returning to somewhere that belongs to him. Frag the Gemara, what's going on here? Let's try and play logic into the limud. Eichidami, HD, Eichidami. What's the story over here? If the animal is well kept and well guarded in that garden, if the garden that he's not there, the owner, but you place the behemoth back in the garden, is well guarded, and there's a gate and everything, pshita, then of course, why not? The animal is there, it's well fed, and the animal has, there's a good fence around it, so I returned it. I don't have to be the police and start educating him, of course not. And if that garden is open and not guarded, amai, then why is it called good hashava? I did not return it properly because the animal can run away every given second. Yeah, it's open. So make up your mind. In other words, it's either to put it back in his garden, not in his presence, then it's either really good and it's not a chiddush, or it's really bad and it should not be a good hashava. What's his garden business? Answers the Gemara, La'olam de mintera. Really, the garden is a well-kept garden. Oh, what did they tell you before? As I already hinted to you before, that's the chiddush. The garden is very well guarded. The garden or the churba, they're very well kept, but the owner doesn't know that it's there. He may not feed it. He may not tend to it. He's not aware that it's actually back by him, so he's not careful about feeding it, about taking care of it, says Rashi. And the chiddush is, although the bailim is not aware of it, although it's guarded, it's still called good hashava. But if it's not guarded and a chinami, then it's not a good hashava. Who says really that the bailim, the owner, doesn't have to know? Who says that it's sufficient even if he doesn't know about the hashava? Ukadar Belazar. That follows the opinion of Rabi Elazar. If you remember about Daf Nun Vav Nun Zayin in Bava Kama, the Omar, he says over there, Hakol tzrichin das bailim. Any person who returns objects, especially animals that can run away, has to do it with the das bailim. Give me an example, please, of somebody who returns an object or an animal to its owner. For example, somebody who, anybody? Somebody who, not a nice guy, not a shidduch from my daughter. Who is that? A thief. A thief stole, or a gazlan stole by force from a bailim. Now he's doing tshuva. No, it's been Yom Kippur not so long ago. He puts it back, but he's a chicken. He doesn't own up to what he does. He just slips it in back to the owner's garden without the owner knowing, saying, I returned it. That's not good. Hakol tzrichin das bailim. A ganev, a gazlan, and also all four shomrim. If you borrowed or if you were deposited as a shomer chinam, if you return the animal to the owner, you have to let the owner know, because the owner first of all has to know that it was stolen, and maybe now it's used to other kind of pastors, it's used to other bailim. The owner has to know to feed it again. He has to be aware of it. Chutz ma'shavas aveda, that's exactly what we're saying. A shavas aveda, right? The Torah has lower standard to Shavas Aveda. As we said, there are a lot of kulos to a person who's doing a Shavas Aveda. We're not matriach the person. And therefore, for Shavas Aveda, he does not have to let the bailim know. As long as the animal is safe and secure in some kind of pen, in some kind of cowshed, even though the owner doesn't know, that's good enough. I'm rushing to work now. I'm rushing to give shiur. I don't have time to start chatting to the bailim now. If you're Meshiv Aveda, that's good enough. The Torah was merabe, the Torah included and brought in more types of hashava, meaning even lower level hashava. As long as the animal is safe, it's good enough, even though the bailim doesn't know. We are now about to start a journey, rabbis. It's going to be fascinating. We're going to go now. The Gemara will take us through all the Torah kula, through all parts of Torah, and the Gemara will tell us what is really behind the words. Now it's my time. When it says shalach teshalach, hashev teshivem, hanek tanik, whenever the Torah repeats the same verb twice, right? Return, you shall return. Lend, you shall loan. The second time is always more of an imperative. How does it translate into English? Anybody? Surely, you shall surely return. You should surely this. You know her? She's a nice person. Surely. So Lamaisa, now we're going to see all these repetitions. What does it mean when the Torah repeats the same word twice? What is it really coming to tell me? With all due respect to surely. Shalach teshalach. Where does it say shalach teshalach? Shalach teshalach esoim. You know the song? Yeah, Pirche London. So shalach teshalach. you should send away, you shall send away the mother. You want to take the chicks or you want to take the eggs, and now you want to make some supper for yourself with the eggs that, of the dove that landed on your window. Send away the mother, and then take them. Why does it say twice shalach teshalach? Surely, what does it say? Ema shalach chada zimna, right? Maybe shalach means once. Teshalach tre zimni. Possibly, yeah, and this is again the Talmud asking Rava, maybe shalach teshalach means there's a limit, only twice. Let's say the mother is a good mother, she's a stubborn mother, she's a poili shemame, and every time you send her, she comes back. You send her, she comes back. So maybe there's a limit of only twice. And if she comes back the third time, I'll just snatch away the beitzim from her and finish. Maybe there's a limitation of sending twice, and that's it. Omar le, again, Rav answers no. Shalach, yeah. If it says send, it means forever. You put in tefillin every day, right? In other words, the chiyuv restarts every time. Who cares that the mother ran away 99 times? You're a Jew. Do the ratzon of Hashem. So what's the shalach? So what's the second time written for? One would say like this: when does shiluach haken apply? One would have thought only when it's for reshus. As I told you, I need the eggs because I want to make supper. I want to make an omelet, sunny side up. I like them, and that's when I have to do shiluach haken, when it's for my own need, as opposed to what? Lidvar mitzvah minayin. How do you know that? Let's say I want to take the birds. It's not only eggs. It's also chicks. Let's say I want to take the chicks for a mitzvah. What kind of mitzvah? Not from a Shabbos lunch. Mitzvah means, for example, tzipoira mitzoira, right? We know that the mitzoira, yeah, the second to last stage of his kapara, 1 week before the real end with the korbanos, 1 week before, right? He shaves and he goes out of town. He's already out of town, actually. And the kohen comes with 2 birds, right? He shechts one over the blood with the ezov and everything. There, the blood is into mechatas. The other bird he sends over the field. So there are 2 birds that have to be kosher and necessary for what? For Taras Mitzayra. That's a religious need. That's not my need. Nobody's going to eat them, right? Elamai, right? One would say maybe if I'm taking the birds that are in the nest and the mommy is there, when I take them from mitzvah, maybe I'm potter from shiluach haken, because it's one mitzvah that in a way sort of pushes away the other. It's var mitzvah. I don't need to, yeah. Talmud loimer teshalach mikol mokoim. Comes the Torah repeats the verb in a more imperative form, in a clearer way, giving me more options and more chiyuvim, mikol mokoim. Even if it's for a mitzvah, you still have to send the mother. Yes, it's not about the times, it's about the quality of the mitzvah, not about the quantity of the mitzvah. That's really what it's all about. Omerle, and again, again, the question of that Rav, that the Talmud that asked Rava, the Ema hocheach chada zimna, tochiach trei zimni. You rebuke your friend, you see your friend, yeah, with a tefillin here. Did you ever see that? The tefillin here. Yeah, I saw it more than once. I won't tell you in which city. Yeah, and what? The guy's with the tefillin here, and you tell him, I'm sorry, I'm not judgmental. I don't mean to be da. Nowadays you're not allowed to say anything unless are not judgmental, and it's all very nice, and I love you so much. But you're tefillin. Would you do what all the time? With a tefillin here? Baruch Hashem, I know. So then what? You have the tefillin over here, for example. I'm just giving an example. The Gemara is not talking about tefillin. And you tell the guy, I'm sorry, mister, but tefillin have to be here. You're not yoitz. It's like putting the tefillin on here. So then the guy doesn't listen to you. What do? Twice. The day after, you approach him again, right? So maybe that's it. Maybe after 2 times, you don't have to be mechiach him anymore. Maybe ocheach once. Ocheach twice. That's it. Finished. Omer lei, no. Answers Rava, the same token, no. Ocheach afilu mea pa'amim b'mashma. Ocheach means even 100 times. By the way, speaking of techocha, and I'm stopping here, a techocha does have to be done very, very delicately. Already the Gemara says that. Before the politically correct millennium of today, the Gemara, I think in Erchin says you can barely ever be mechiach, and you obviously have to do it in a very smart way, in a way that he may listen to. But conceptually, you have to be mechiach 100 times. The Gemara says, Achi yakenu. You have to be mechiach until the other person hits you. If the other person is so against you, by the way, I did tell the guy once somewhere in the world that his tefillin here, I spoke to him very, very, very gently, and I said, maybe your tefillin should be here. He lashed at me like crazy, you know. Who are you to tell me? Okay, I ran away, ran back to Israel. Okay, so then, okay, Lemaisa meikar hadin, as long as the guy didn't hit you or scream at you, I don't know, whatever, you have to be mechiach 100 times until the point is corrected, until the sin, yeah. I tochiach. So why do you have to repeat the word tochiach? Tochiach means already endless amount of times. And the other word tochiach, listen to this, you're going to like it. Ainli ela harav letalmid. One would have said, who has the right to rebuke who, to scold the rov to the talmid? A person who's bigger, yeah, who's a rov, should be mechiach, his disciple, his talmid, his student. Talmid l'rav minayin, opa. How do you know that a talmid may rebuke his rov? Whoa, that's a big one, right? How do you know that a talmid sees his rov doing something wrong, he's allowed to, or even is commanded to be mechiachim, to rebuke? Talmud loimer hochech tochiach mikol mokoim. Wow. Even if a talmid sees the rav sinning, although he has to be done in a respectful way, the talmid may be mechiach somebody greater than him. Now, there are at least two conditions to that, and we're not inventing it. It's out in the Rishonim. Condition number one, brought down in the Rishonim, is you have to say it more respectfully than to your friend. You see your friend with a tefillin over here, then really you just tell him, excuse me, mister, put it over here. With a rov, you have to tell him, just like you mechiach your father, you have to mechiach your rov by saying, didn't we learn so and so? Like in a question. Didn't we see in the Mishnah Brura that the tefillin have to be over here in a more respectful way? Secondly, and that's my own addition, that's my 2 cents, before you mechiach rov, you have to really, really, really know that the halach is on your side. Many times people think, oh, that Talmid Chacham doesn't know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's like mina gagro, he's like mina chazonish, he's like mina Breslev, like mina geger. But you know what I mean? That happens a lot. I see it in my own life and interacting with people on all sides. You know, they're absolutely sure that the Rav is wrong. No, he's not wrong. He's just following a different shita, lakula or lachumra. So that's also a point, and I'm stepping off the soapbox at this moment. Azov ta'azov imoy. Oh, we are back now to azov ta'azov, and that is the mitzvah of azov ta'azov. Which mitzvahs have to do with azov ta'azov? And that is, one second, the mitzvah of the prika. No, excuse me, that's I always get confused, and actually the Gemara itself says azov ta'azov, is it prika or te'ina? Azov ta'azov is prika. Okay, azov ta'azov literally means help him. Azov also means like azov. You should help, again, help your friend. When azov ta'azov, says Rashi, prika. What does prika mean? To unload. You see the donkey about to literally die or break, not seriously, or really, be injured because the burden is way too heavy. So then you have to help the owner, you have to help the master, the owner, and unload the stuff, download it, unload it, and put it in the ground. Azov ta'azov imoy. Again, comes the Gemara and says, Ainli ela be'olov imoy. I would have only said if the Bailim is there, if the Bailim are around, then I have to help him. Why? Because I'm supposed to help, not doing the job completely on my own. If he's there, I'm supposed to help. Azov is like lazov. I have to help. Help, by definition, means what? He's there, and I'm helping him doing his job. She'en be'olov imoy minayin. How do you know that if the owner is not there, then also I'm supposed to help? Although I'm doing it all on my own. Soon we're going to explain what that means. The Torah repeated the word azov twice to tell me whether the owner helps you or he doesn't help you, you still have to help. Stop right there. Here there's a big disclaimer, and all the Rishonim start screaming over here. Basically, you tell me if you know the halacha. Let's say I'm a nice, frum Jew, and I see someone in a donkey. What a rare occasion, 2022. I see someone Jewish with a donkey, and it's falling apart. The donkey is about to die and collapse. And I say, oh, great, I'm going to help you unload. And then the guy says, okay, great, so nice you came. Then he goes, sits with his coffee and his smartphone, and I say, excuse me, and he says, it's your mitzvah. He sits there, he's an able man, but he sits there and says, you're doing your mitzvah, you a frumy friar. You do it all for me, and I'll drink my coffee and solve my crossword in this. Yeah, am I supposed to work like a friar? Yes or no? No. The answer is no. Azov ta'azov imoy, with him. Only if he helps me. If so, what does it mean en be'olav imoy? What does it mean en be'olav imoy? Says, where is the bailim? Where is the bailim then? If the bailim is completely absent, that's a different mitzvah of a Shavas Aveda. If the bailim is there, say the Rishonim, and he's sick or old. Let's say the guy is old and he cannot down. He can't unload himself, right? The Bailim is there and really unable to do it. Then I'm supposed to do it all on my own because he's really unable. He's an old man. He's a sick man. He can't do it on his own. Then, although he's not helping me, my level of chiyuv goes not only to help him, although that is the simple meaning of the words to help. Nevertheless, if he's really unable to do it, tudat neche, is really unable. Then I'm supposed to do it all on my own, but that's a chiddush. That's an additional level of the quality of help that I'm going to help, and that's again the same thing. Allow me to 1 second, and then I'll hear you because we have to finish this one. Hakem takim imoy. Oh, that's the sister mitzvah of prika is teina. What's teina? To load. The animal, everything already, he came post facto. Everything already fell apart. Yeah, the burden, the load is already all over the floor. The oranges are falling all over, flying all everywhere. The parcels, the whole big mayhem over there. And I'm supposed to help him to load the animal again and hakem and get the donkey up on his feet and everything to rearrange everything. Same thing exactly. Why do you repeat the same word twice? Only if the owner is there and is helpful. If the owner is not there, meaning if the owner is unable to help, the owner is really old and sick and frail and can't help me. Maybe I'm not supposed to do the work on my own. What should he do? Call help. Even before the phone, actually, the Rishonim say, he can try and get other people for money. Get workers for money. Scream until you find someone, maybe. Amud hakim mikol mokoim. The Torah tells me twice, repeats the same verb twice in an imperative to tell me mikol mokoim, whatever it may be, even if you end up working on your own, as long as he's not obnoxious and lazy, as long as there's a justification to why he's not helping himself, then you're supposed to do it, Baruch Hashem, on your own to help him, and that's a chiddush, and we need an extra word for that, and I want to hear a question now. Yeah. Weiter. Says the Gemara weiter, V'lama lei lemichtav prika, v'lama lei lemichtav te'ina. We are about 6 lines or so before the bottom of the page, Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph of Metzia. Frag the Gemara, why does the Torah have to write both prika and te'ina? Which means, according to Tosis and some other Rishonim, it means, why did the Torah have to mention the same concept in both prika and te'ina? Which concept? That sometimes I have to work alone. In other words, the Torah demands so much of me. I'm losing time. Maybe I'm losing money. That's another discussion later. I'm working hard, and this guy, misken, old and frail, yeah, and I end up either loading or unloading all by myself. Why did the Torah have to write it in both parshas? Why can the Torah write it in one parsha, and I would automatically derive it from one parsha to the other? Yeah, because it's more or less a similar mitzvah. And says Gemara, tzrichi. Both psukim are needed, as you said, Arv Gitzin. The ikos of Rachmana Prika, had the Torah only given me the high standard regarding Prika to unload, I would have said, Prika is more important than Te'ina. Why? Avamina, I would have said, Mishum de ikatzar ba'alechaim, ve'ikachesan kis, double whammo, double bingo. It's what? A mitzvah of Prika is more important. The animal is suffering and the man's losing big money. That donkey is worth money. So then you have to do it to that extent, even on your own. Aval te'ina delav tzar ba'alechaim ika. A te'ina has neither. A te'ina, when you load the items on the donkey, it's not tzar ba'alechaim. The donkey would probably be happier without the burden. Yeah. V'lo cheslon kis ika. And also, he's not losing money. He's not. That's very interesting. He's not losing money. He's just losing time, and it's embarrassing, and it's funny, and it's awkward. But at the end of the day, yeah, he's not really losing anything clear. The donkey is not about to die, and the parcel is there. Yeah, Elamai, to load the parcel on the donkey, you can say indirectly, if nobody comes to his help, he'll have to maybe abandon it. But it's not a direct chesron kiss. I'm avoiding your potential question. In other words, someone's donkey, boo, the whole thing fell apart. Yeah. So what's going to happen now? It's awkward, it's funny, it's stupid, I'm in a rush somewhere, and it's, what a headache, and I have meetings. You're not really losing money right now. The donkey is actually very happy to be without the burden, and the parcels are right there and then. Nobody said that they're broke. So one would have said, okay, that's a mitzvah, but it's 2 levels below. Ema loy. I would have said, no. I would have said, maybe I can help him as long as he's helping me. Yalla, yalla. The 2 of us together, let's get going. But if this is a 100-year-old man and he's crippled, and I have to do it all on my own, no. maybe to that level, the Torah did not demand it because it's not such a super duper mitzvah comparing to the other one, to Prika. Kamash Malan, that we have to do it there too. I now go to the other way, go the other direction. The Iyashmein and Te'ina. Okay, so why can't the Torah tell me, fine? So the Torah should have told me, by Te'ina, which is a less important mitzvah, you should load even on your own, and then you don't have to tell me Prika. You get? The question is now reversed. If in Te'ina, which is not such a, whatever, not so chashuv, there's no such loss, and you still have to do it single-handedly, then of course, by Prika you have to do it. So why does the Torah mention it by Prika now? Now the question is stronger. Says the Gemara, Mishum de Besachar. Wow. According to some opinions that we'll see later on, Sachar, Te'ina, which is harder. Te'ina is less important but harder physically. It's easier to unload than to load. Loading, you have to schlep the heavy thing up. So Te'ina, according to Meosam Tanoim later on, actually you can't demand schar for that. You're supposed to do it. You're supposed to stop your car on the side of the road, but you're allowed to ask for compensation, to be remunerated. If so, I would say, wait, Te'ina, you get paid? You might as well do it on your own. You're a paid guy. You're not volunteering. Since I'm paid, of course, I'll do it on my own too. The old man in the wheelchair is actually paying me to load it on your own. Aval Prika de Bechinam. Prika, everybody agrees, Prika is easier to unload, to discharge, is easier, and you do it for free, and you're not allowed to ask for money. Emaloi. Since I'm not asking for money, also, maybe I'm not supposed to do it all on my own. Basically, the same concept of Shomer Socher, Shomer Chinam. No pain, no gain. Sricha. That's why we have to mention both Prika and Te'ina. One, because it's a more choshev mitzvah, and one, because the other one is for free. Rab Shimon, that's all very nice. Rab Shimon, according to Rab Shimon, the Omar, he says later on, Af Te'ina Bechinam, yeah. In other words, according to Rab Shimon, he believes you never take money for any of those mitzvahs, and even Te'ina, which is loading and it's hard, even that you're supposed to do for free. If so, what is he going to say, right? He should only mention, obviously, a Te'ina, yeah, because Prika has no advantage over the other one. They're both for free, yeah. Answers the Gemara. So why did the Torah have to mention both psukim? Answers the Gemara. Rab Shimon lo mesai mikroi. Oh, which means, you remember I got confused at the beginning of this paragraph, and I wasn't sure which one is Prika, which one is Te'ina. I don't feel so bad, because Rab Shimon says that it's not so clear from the psukim which pasuk talks about Prika, which one talks about Te'ina. If he just says help, loading, it doesn't say clearly in the pasuk you should pick up or put down. It doesn't say it outright, as far as I understand. They fall in the way, it's not so 1,000,000% clear in the psukim. If so, if the Torah would have only mentioned one of them, I would have automatically said, of course, it means to unload because it's more important. But to load, who said? That's what the Torah mentions another pasuk to make it clear for me. If the Torah mentions the same thing twice, obviously it's not the same thing twice. It comes to tell me the next best thing. So now we have both Prika and Te'ina. That's what the pasuk have to be mentioned twice. Not twice. That's why we need both sets of psukim to just tell me pasuk pshat, Prika and Te'ina. Because if there would be only one pasuk, I would automatically connected it to only Prika, not to Te'ina. Now, Frag the Gemara, let's join. We're continuing the game of why did they have to write this? Why did they have to write that? Now we're bringing another player into the game, and that is the Shavas Aveda, good old Shavas Aveda. Frag the Gemara, 3 lines from the bottom. Very interesting. Says Rashi, a Shavas Aveda, yeah, l'choira is similar to Prika and Te'ina. It's not a very clear question because Rashi says they all have to do with your friend's money. In other words, if I would have known Prika and Te'ina, both together, that have to be mentioned, I don't have to know a Shavas Aveda. Wow. Because if I have to help my friend regain his money or deal with his money, I automatically know that I also have to return his Aveda. And as we said, I know it sounds strange because the Shavas Aveda is very different. You lost an item in the street. I want to remind you, though, that what did we learn yesterday? A very big yesod about Aveda. Is a Shavas Aveda, does a Shavas Aveda only apply to something that's lost already? No. We saw yesterday, if there's a flood that's about to flood the field, and it's about to be destroyed, it's also Shavas Aveda, and that's the halacha. To prevent prevention. You see a thief about Chasham, happens. You see some funny character about to enter your friend's house, your neighbor's house, and your neighbor is now where he's in wherever in Cuba. Yeah, then what? You deal with it. You confront the guy, you call the police, you avoid, you prevent nezek from your friend's property. If so, the Gemara is asking, why do you need Prikavatin and also Shavas Aveda, right? Maybe give me one idea to take care of your friend's money. And I know that Prikavatina both have their own chidushim, and Aveda doesn't have to be mentioned. That's a question. Answers the Gemara Tzrichi. Yes, you do have to mention all three, Prikatina and Aveda. Why? The ikos of Rachmona Hani Tarti, if you write those two items, Prika and Teina, load and upload, load and unload, Mishum de Tsa'ar Demor Isa, Tsa'ar Dida Isa. Generally speaking, in Prika and Teina, although it doesn't apply to both, but we already dealt with their own inner politics. Generally speaking, when it comes to an animal, they by them have tsar. Either they have monetary loss or they feel very embarrassed and stupid. The donkey there with all the oranges and all the falling all over and has to waste a lot of time, and the animal is suffering. Then I would say that you have to really deal with the animal and the owner. But when an animal, let's say, is lost, the tsar the moro isa, the tsar the dolesa. When the animal ran away, the animal is very happy. The owner is tsar. The owner feels sorry, and the owner is losing, and the owner has agmas nefesh. He has at a loss. Tsar the dolesa. The animal is not necessarily no. The animal seems very happy to run over there far away into the field. Why not? Ema loy, maybe not. Maybe the whole idea is tsar b'lechaim combined with human being suffering. If it's only human being suffering, maybe not. Very modern svara. V'yashmin an aveda. On the other hand, had you only told me aveda to return an aveda, I wouldn't have known prika v'teina. Why not? Mishum deleisa lamora bahado. With the aveda, the master is just not there. He's so helpless, so hopeless. He's not there at all. How can he help himself? Your friend went to Timbuktu and you see his car running around in the street. Of course you have to return it. He's not there. How can he help himself? Aval hani talti. But those two prikavatina, the isalamoro bahado, there the owner is there. He may be old and frail, but he's there. Maloi. Maybe I would have said, excuse me, why do I have to help him? He's there next to his car. Call Yedidim. Call the police. Call the, Yedidim. In America it's called chaverim. They come and they help you with the car. They're very, very big tzaddikim. They come and they help you with the car. I don't need to waste time now, Maybe he's there. Let him deal. He's an adult. He's in with a wheelchair, so he should call people and pay them money or pay me money. In other words, he's not so helpless. He's there. Maybe I don't have to help him. Sricha. Comes the Gemara and says, no. Comes the Gemara and tells me you do have to help him, whether the owner is completely out of the picture or the owner is in the picture. In both cases, you have to help the owner, and that is definitely a chiddush. And whether it's only the man suffering or both animal and man suffering, you always have to help. And we continue in a journey for the Torah's double words. The Torah's doubles. From where? How do you learn from Teina to Aveda? Nice. Mois Yuma Samake. It says if a person murders the other, what do you do with him? Well, obviously, after a lot of warning and finding out, if push comes to shove and Beis Din decides to execute him, which is very rare, then Mois Yumas, he shall die and he shall die. What does it mean? How do you actually kill the murderer? By saif, the safe way. Saif means what? By sword. You kill him by the sword. Okay, why repeating twice? You can only kill a person once, not twice. Ainli ela b'misa haksuva boy. One would have said, listen, if I can kill him the way I'm supposed to kill him with a scythe, with a sword, then kill him. Okay, good, that's the way to do it. Minayin, how do you know? Let's say from some technical reason, you cannot kill him the way that the Torah wants you to kill him, to execute him. How do you know? How do you know you can kill him in any other possible way of death? Let me explain. Says Rashi. Rashi gives you a very detailed description, very picturesque description over here. Says Rashi, what happens if the guy runs from Beis Din He runs away from Beis Din. He's a quick guy. Yeah, they don't have the policeman over there. He's supposed to be, basically not guillotined, but there's machloikis. He's supposed to have his head chopped off, severed, and he's running away in a boat. How are you going to get him in a boat? You can shoot him with an arrow. You do that. You shoot an arrow to the boat, or you shoot the boat so he drowns. You're allowed to do that, and you're supposed to do that. Lechatchila, we give them the Torah prescribed. But by the Eved, moist, you must, again, extend the possibilities, and we say you must means you kill him in any other way. The Chiddush thing is a double Chiddush, and Mechavrusa like the Chiddush, and that is, the Beis Din only have how many forms of death? 4. Shooting with an arrow or drowning someone or whatever you call it is not one of the 4. Even that you can do. You can even how do you say, electrify him, electrocute him, right, as they do in Texas. That's right. So Mimela, but the Eved, you can do that if you have no choice to do it the normal lechatchila way of Saif. Continues the Gemara, similar pasuk with a different halacha. Hake take. That's about Ira Nidachas. Ira Nidachas, a city where 2 adult men, they basically convinced everybody in the Bechirot, they convinced everybody to worship of Azariyah, and the majority of the city worshipped of Azariyah and mass, everyone's an Oved of Azariyah, most of them are Oved of Azariyah. You're supposed to destroy the city, and you're supposed to, without going into details, but the tzaddikim, but you destroy the city, and the people, although the Oved of Azariyah, you don't kill them by skila, by pushing them off the roof, but you kill them with a sword, a lighter death, yeah? But the money, on the other hand, they lose all their money and also their heirs. Hake, you should smite the people of that city, of that bad city. And why do you have to repeat the same pasuk twice? It's the same thing. Enli el baka ksuva bahen. I would have said, if you manage to kill them with a sword, and you know how they would do it, they would bring a lot of batedinim to the Yeronidachas. They'd actually bring a lot of, makeshift, field-based din. How do you say beidin sadeh? Like a kangaroo court, not kangaroo court. It's not nice to say that. What? Mobile court, okay? And you bring it there to the Yeronidachas, a lot of 23 sets of 23 deonim, and they not too quickly, but they basically judge everybody, and then they kill them all together by the sword. But let's say you can't kill them with the sword. Some of them run away. What are you going to do? If you cannot kill them with the form of death written for them, prescribed to them by the Torah, how do you can kill them anyway? We can think of nowadays a bomb, you can shoot the machine gun, just kill them any other form. How do you know? You have to really smite them and kill them in any possible form if there's no other choice, of course. Now we're talking about returning. That's the next double in the Torah. Returning a mashkoin. So let me give you a small introduction, and I assume that we know it already. When a person collateralizes, when a person takes the collateral from somebody that borrowed money from him, he's supposed to be very respectful, and there are a few conditions on how gentle you have to be with your borrower whom collateral you took, right? And now you have to do hashev teshivim, which means, let's say he lent you, let's say the man is poor, and he has, let's say, one, maybe two, I don't know, he has, let's say, one shirt for the day, and he has one pajama for the night. And you took as collateral his pajama. Every night, you have to go and give him back his pajama for the night, because otherwise there's nothing to sleep, with it in his body to wear when he's sleeping. It's winter time, and every morning you have to take it back from him. So it's actually a very big headache for the lender more than the borrower to make sure. And the daytime is the same thing. You borrowed his one shirt he goes to Kollel to work with. You have to give it back to him every morning, and don't take it by night. So it's really not such an amazing means of pressure, and we're going to discuss that too. But Lamaisa, that's what you have to do. Again, Hashev Tashiv, you should surely return. Where is Shirley? Where is she? Hashev Tashiv, yeah. Why do you have to repeat the same word twice? Hashev Tashiv. Ainly Elish, listen to this unbelievable, beautiful pshat we saw in one of the Rishonim. Ainly, the Gemara at the beginning does make sense, and then you'll see how it does. I would have said, Ainly Elish Shemishkina Birshus Bezdin. Let's say the mashko and the collateral was taken a nice, legal way. You're good, nice, Anglo person, you do everything legal, everything by way, and you lent money to someone, and right from the start, it was done by Beis Din, all the agreement, And Beis Din decided, together with everybody, that I will take his night pajama. Yeah, okay. Then I'm supposed to give it back every time. Nice. That's what the Torah talks about. Mishkena Shelo B'Reshus Beis Din. Let's say the person was memashken without the permission of Beis Din. At some point, the person did not give me, the lender, the borrower is taking too long, and I say, listen, mister, edit. Please give me your pajama, and until you don't give me back the money, I'm holding your pajama. Okay, goodbye. Without Beis Din's authority, minayin, how do you know that he has to return it every night? By the way, I'm only explaining this more according to one pshat because it's one good to all the pshat. There are a few explanations here. The pshat here is there was a havamina now in the Gemara we're holding now to say that if I took it myself, not necessarily by force, could be that he agreed to it, but it was I took the law into my hands and I actually decided I'm taking that mashkon, that collateral, maybe then I don't have to return it every time, but maybe then I can keep it to myself the entire time, day and night. My question is, what? I'm asking a question. Can I talk? Yeah. My question is like this. Yeah, what do you mean? Says Rabbeinu Yonason, I saw the Rishon asking my question. Choite niskar? What's choite niskar? Would the sinner gain? He's a sinner, a relative sinner. The one who's doing everything by law, nice, with Beis Din, with a big nice smile. We say, oh, you're limited. Every night, you have to go back to the man's house and giving back the pajama every night, every morning. I would have gone crazy. I would have given up the money, yeah? And that you have to do. But if you took it one day by yourself without consulting with Beis Din, there was a thought of saying that then you can just keep the pajama day and night until he pays you. Why? Why should the choite, why should the sinner, the one who's doing not exactly with the law, why was the havamina that such a lender would get more power? Yes, are you with me? Get more power and not have to give back the pajama every night. Answers Rabbeinu Yonason, listen to beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We tend to think of the lender as the mean guy, right? The witch from the west. And we think that the borrower is the underdog. It's not always the case. Says Rabbeinu Yonason, when Beis Din are in charge, then the borrower is scared of Beis Din. And he should be. He should return his loan one day. And then, even though I return the pajama every night, and he's not so pressurized by the pajama being away from him, because it's anyhow back every night, but he is pressurized by the presence of Beis Din that are taking care of the case. But when the person did it by himself, when the person is just there without Beis Din backing him, when I say the person, I mean the lender, says the borrower, it's just him and him. Nobody's behind him. No official body is behind him. Let him take my pajama. If he gives it every night, no means of pressure. But pajama is back with me every night. The cute little one with the pom-pom here. And there's nobody backing him. I will never give him the loan back. So therefore, there was a havamina that instead of Beis Din being the means of pressure, maybe then the means of pressure have to be that he's sleeping naked. That he's sleeping without his pajama. That's a good havamina. That's a innocent in the Shita. Talmud Loimer, we don't say that. Toshiv Toshiv Mikol Mokoim. Kamashmala, no. Whatever, 1 second. Whatever, I'll repeat that. I see I have to repeat that. I'll repeat it soon. The Chiddush is Hashev Tashiv twice. Mikol Mokoim. Whether the collateral was something official, formal, Beis Din, authorized by Beis Din, or it wasn't, in both cases, whether there is pressure or there isn't pressure, you have to be a mensch towards your borrower, and every night gives him back the pajama, because says the Torah. How will we sleep without his with his only pajama at night? Yeah, that's the answer. I'll repeat. Again, what does the Torah say? The Torah says something which is very pro borrowers. Yeah, the Torah is borrowers.com, borrowersrights.com. The Torah says, I take a collateral from a person, and it's not such great means of pressure. Why? Because if he's a poor man and he has one night pajama, has one day garment, then although I took it as a collateral, I have to give it back to him either every morning, if it's daytime garment, or every night if it's a pajama, right? I have to return it to him to use it, and I take it from him at times when he doesn't use it. Okay? Havamina was, that's cool and that's great when Beis Din are in charge. So then, although the borrower is not so pressurized because he really has the dress for the day or the night, right? But it's pressurized by Beis Din being involved. He knows Beis Din at some point will get involved, say, "Hi, Rabbi, why aren't you giving back the loan?" Yeah. But She'ein Ken, if the person took if the lender took the collateral by himself, one sunny day just came and took it with permission, maybe. But Lamaisa, it's just him and him, yeah. Then there was a Havamina, maybe no. Maybe then the lender can keep the pajama day and night. Because if I'm not pressurizing him by keeping the pajama all the time, who would pressurize him? Beis Din are not involved. Kamash Malan, no. We believe so much in borrower's rights that we always have to give it back hashiv tashiv twice, whether Beis Din are involved or not involved, you always have to give back to the guy, to the borrower, for using it. Why? Because he's a poor man and there's nothing else to wear. If it's a rich guy, the guy has 10 suits and 20 shirts. It's a different story. Weiter, very similar story. Chavol Tachboil. Chavol Tachboil is basically another set of psukim that says the same thing. And we're going to explain why you need two psukim. Again, the same question. If you collateralized him with permission of Beis Din, then you have to give it every day or every night. How do you know that if you did it without permission, just by your own accord, how do you know that you still have to give it back day and night? Chabal Tachbol means you should collateralize in such a way and give it back, yeah, whether Beis Din are in charge or not. Why do you need two different psukim to say the same thing? Answers the Gemara, one for daytime garment, one for the night garment. Interesting. In other words, we need a special pasuk to tell me that you return the item of the day. Another one to tell me you return the item of the night. So what I beforehand mentioned together, and it was true, Allah applies to both types of godim. You have one psukim for this and another set of psukim for that. My question, which was not answered, we look extensively in the Rishonim, why do you really need two psukim? Why can the Torah speak generally a garment, right? And I would assume the same thing applies to day and night. I didn't find an answer. If you want to look for an answer, I'll be very happy. But I did not see an answer. Maybe you can say svaras, lachan, or lachan. Maybe day is more important. Maybe night is more important. I don't know. Night maybe can manage. Maybe as a blanket. I don't know. Daytime he can go naked during the day. But that's my question. And the Chavrusa was not so perturbed by that. Others. Okay. Weiter. Patoyach tiftach mikol mokoim. Wait. I'm sorry. Patoch tiftach. The line starts with the word tiftach. Look at the Gemara. Patoyach tiftach. Open your hand. Open your hand to the poor. A guy comes to you, and you open, and you know that he's a sincere guy. You open, yeah, he has a koilin or mad b'chemesh, yeah, or he's not poor, he's collecting, I don't know, kids with cancer for a koilin, for something, for himself, chasana, whatever, the michnas eskala. Open your hand, says twice. What does that mean? You only give to anim, then you close the door? No. Enli elalaniya ilcha. One would say, and that's a favorite line by a lot of dvirim, aniyach koidmim. You came from Ramat b'chemesh to, no, we have a lot of local needs over here. Are they right? Yes and no. One would say you should only support the anim of, let's say the guy lives in Kukuville, there's a Sam, there's an old age home, a mikveh, anim. We're not going to give people from Eretz Israel, only to people from Kukuville, because we have our own needs, and that's it. And we don't give to anybody else from outside our community. To that extent, says the Torah, how do you know that you are supposed to help people from a different city? Mikol mokoim. You have to open your hand. Mikol mokoim, meaning both this and that. In more extensive definition, it's true. Aniyecha koidmin. Koid means they come first. Believe me, some people have enough money to support their own community, and a little bit also for other communities, especially Eretz Yisrael. It says, and it's brought in the Chassam Sofer, Aniyeh Eretz Yisrael koidmin. Aniyeh Eretz Yisrael are before other anim, which means if you live in, just picking a very random city, Chicago. I've never been there in my life. So Chicago, let's say somebody from New York, Yeshiva New York, comes to Gevir in Chicago, and somebody from the Chemish comes to Gan Chicago, he should give. Chicago are well taken care of by him already. Now, who should he give first? The one from New York and the one from the Chemish? The one from the Chemish. Aniyeh Eretz Yisrael come before other places. And Chicago comes first in his case. It's Chicago, Yerushalayim, New York for this guy. Okay? but you can't ignore people from other places and just completely not give them. Before over here, I have a lot of stories to say about it, but I'll finish. I will not continue. Nelson Titen, yeah. Is the name of your city. I said that. I said that. He lives in Chicago. So he gives Chicago a name first. He gave already Chicago a name. He made them all millionaires. Now there are two other people knocking on his door in his Kabbalah's call Tuesday night. I don't know. So one from New York, one from Yerushalayim. You can only help one. Help the one from Yerushalayim, not the one from New York. Nothing against New York. I'm saying Eretz Yisrael is before other people, and that is only after he took care of his own community. Absolutely so. I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. Nosoin titain. Oh, now nosoin titain. Again, it talks there about tzedakah. Yeah, tzedakah. You give and give. Why do you say again give and give? Only elamatona meruba. That's very, very interesting psychology, and by some dvirim, that's how it works. One would say, if I give him $100, at least I'll give him. That's yeah. But matona mu'etis minayin. But if I happen to meet that nice guy that I give tzedakah to, and I can't give him $100, I only have $10 in my pocket and no credit card. So $10, ashamed me, the big girl, give it $10. I won't give him at all. Some people think that way from experience. So Talmud Lomer no sentitan mikol mokoim. You have to give even a smaller gift. The guy who came from Israel to a cuckoo place, he still prefers the $10 over zero. So maybe it's against your covet to give just $10, but it's still helping him. So you give it tzedakah, you give the tzedakah either a big amount or even a small amount. It's an interesting twist over here, but the Torah reads our minds better. If you don't mind 2 minutes, we'll get to 10:25, and they'll be much more question friendly. Hanek tanik, again, when your worker, meaning to be more precise, your Eved Ivri finished his, let's say, 6 years term, okay, and now you have to give him gifts. All the details mentioned in Kiddushin around the Tesdain Yizayin there or something. In Kiddushin, you have to give him a lot of nice gifts from fruit and from the bakar. Give him nice gifts, all very nice. Now, and it says in the Torah, because Hashem berachecho, Hashem blessed you because of that event, and therefore you have to give him now as a farewell gift. You have to give him nice gifts. Says the Gemara. Wait a second. Why do you repeat the word ha'anek, lahanik, to bestow, to give? Why twice? Only elish nisbach habayis bigloloi ma'anikim. When the house was really blessed because of him, you had that Eved Ivri, and wow, a magic kind of guy. Since he came in, everything works better. He's a great worker, and all of a sudden, everything is nicer. Shalom bayis, whatever, everything is better. Then I give him nice, all very good. Oh, lonis barachabais. And the Torah acknowledges it. It's not something about Tishas word. The Torah says the house is blessed because of him. Lonis barachabais bigloloi minayin. Let's say the house was not blessed because of him. Since he came here 6 years ago, everything started breaking, and the kids are doing bad in school, and the cows died, and my Toyota broke. I don't see a big bracha. He was doing okay, but not a gross bruche. So how do you know that you still have to give him? You give him the farewell gifts to the worker, regardless to the amount of blessing that came along. Ooh, now we come to the punchline. And now you're going to see that all along, when I made fun of Shirley, I was possibly wrong. Here I'm coming to eat my hat. You have to listen to the next few lines. Zog the Gemara, Rabi Elazar ben Azariyah, another Tana over there, I think in Kiddushin, the Omar, he said, Nisbarach habayis biglolo ma'anikin loy. Lo nisbarach habayis biglolo en ma'anikin. Boom. There is an opinion that says, yes, if the Torah is giving you a condition. It's not the Torah telling you some nice, picturesque idea. The Torah says, give him because the house was blessed because of him, the household. But if the household was not blessed because of him, you don't give him. If so, why do you repeat the word hanik twice? Because what we just said is not true according to Rabi Elazar ben Azariyah. And if so, why do you really have to repeat the word? Lamali, tanik lamali, דיברה Torah כלשון bnei Adam. Wow. According to Rabi Elazar ben Azariyah, sometimes, said the Rishonim, the Torah repeats a word not to tell me an extra halacha or to extend the definition. Sometimes the Torah just talks in a way that people talk. K'lshon bnei Adam, just like people tell you, make sure to give him. The Torah just adding an extra word to sound more like human beings talk. That's all. So that's like Shirley. Very good. And we're going to continue tomorrow, Hashem. And I'm more than happy to hear a question now. Have a great day. Atzlacha Rabba. Hanektani Lamed Tilmad. Lamed Tilmad Torah. That's my own request. Keep learning Torah. Atzlacha Rabba b'chol inyanim. Goodbye.